And the old way is so exhausting. You're constantly in the head thinking about what other people are thinking of you. When you let go and surrender, and crossing this bridge from the old way to the new way is just surrendering out of that old stuff. It drags you down, and it's very heavy energy. You can feel the heaviness of it. You let go and you're free. You find this inner peace and this freedom, and it's just, you have all this extra energy because you still conduct yourself with respect, love and dignity, but it's just, you let go of other people's expectations, and particularly on yourself.
Faye and Panic, I know this time C today my news you need to have along the way. Hello, I'm Faye, and this is Conversations with Faye. Today my guest is Sally Estlin from Self-Empowered Lifestyle. Now, Sally works with a lot of different mediums, but her specialty is working with energy. We all have energy, we all have a vibration. We're going to be looking at things with energy, finding your tribe, dressing with intent, and so many other things. So let's see what Sally has to say. Welcome to the show. I'm Faye Waterman. And my guest is Sally Estlin. And Sally empowers others to live a high vibe life. And she works with energy. So welcome, Sally, and thank you for your time.
Oh, very happy to be here. I'm very grateful. Thanks, Faye.
Now, Sally, let's talk about what you actually do, because you help people become empowered within themselves, and you talk about community and how we dress, and that's empowering in itself, and what we listen to and who we hang around with. And you do lots of energy work, and I watch you when you do card readings every day, and all that sort of stuff. So talk a little bit about who you are first, so people get to know you.
Well, I'm just, your average person next door who just likes to play with energy, because everything is energy at the end of the day, everything. So I don't know, it's just, and we work with energy in all different ways, and we can do it with our clothing, we can do it with the people that we hang out, and everything. When we start to realize that we are real master creators, when we can empower ourselves through having conscious awareness, but working with energy in a more powerful way to create a happier, healthier life.
So what is energy? What do you mean by energy? I know that we are a vibration, which is an energy, and we don't feel that we're vibrating or anything like that. It's a bit like the earth. It's a vibration, it's an energy, it moves on an axis, but we don't feel it. So what's the energy that you're talking about with us as human beings?
Well, when you walk into a room and it just feels weird and it doesn't feel right, that's a vibe, that's a vibration. So basically, I like to say to people that I work to create a high vibe life for themselves, but we've got a frequency, so everything is operating at different levels of frequencies. We also have a vibration, and that's more from the heart. It's something that we feel, and then we have the energy that we sense. And so when we package that all up, it creates a resonant field within ourselves, and that's what we're sensing within others. So when we're sensing, we get goosebumps,
Oh yes, when you get a certain feeling, goosebumps go right through you.
Right through you. When you're on point, when you're really, and this is when you're bypassing the mind. The mind has this frequency that we operate at, and the vibration is from the heart, but the gut is sensing. And that is the goosebumps. It's that, like that, just that knowing. And it bypasses the logical mind. You can't explain it. It's just, it feels right. So when you meet people that you vibe with, they're on the same level, the same vibrational frequency or whatever, and you go, I really get them. And that's what I was saying. If you go into a room and it doesn't feel right, it just feel out of sorts. Or you might be in the best mood, feel really high vibration, uplifted, and you come out from, I don't know, it might be a lunch or something, and you feel really drained because the energy down there is lower and it's dragging you down.
Yeah, and it can do that kind of quite easily if you allow it to happen.
Correct.
But when you have the right vibration or the right energy yourself, then you are the word control comes in. And I think we have to have that sense of control about who we are and what we do, what we think about, and how we feel. And that's an energy in itself, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And we're very, very sensitive these days. As we're going through there's a dimensional shift going on energetically on the planet. And so as the vibration of the planet and ourselves is being shifted and lifted up, we become a lot more sensitive to people, to things, to experiences. So I think it was Jim Rohn who said, you become the 5 people you hang around. And you've really got to be very mindful in this day and age of who you hang around, the experiences you allow yourself to be in. And I think a lot of people, particularly since COVID, are very sensitive and mindful about the situations they allow themselves to be in, because at the end of the day, that's a choice. You have a choice about who you hang with, where you go, and there's no one else to blame but yourself.
And that's a really interesting topic in itself, isn't it? But we're taking responsibility of who we are and how we feel and who we hang around with. And we do have choices. We choose to hang around with those people that take our vibe down, or we choose to hang around with people that lift us up.
Absolutely. And putting up those healthy boundaries and I think putting up that boundaries of saying no more often when it doesn't align to you. But when you are clear on your values, then you have this clarity about what aligns with you and what doesn't. And then it's a lot easier to cull the things that don't align with you.
You said values. Now, that's a really interesting topic, and I want to have a little bit of a conversation about that, because we can have business values, which can be a little bit similar to our personal values. But when we have values, we've got to understand what those values are and what they actually mean to us. Because if we say we've got values like freedom or trust or whatever it might be, do we understand what that value actually means to us?
I think even in business, it's the core essence of you is what people see and what you resonate out. And having this clarity on the values, it underpins the true essence of you. And I think a really good way when you are making choices is we ask ourselves, am I going to respect myself if I make this choice or not? And that comes back to your values. Is it aligning with my values or not? Because we all have been in those situations when we've made choices that didn't feel right, didn't align with us, and they weren't aligning with their values. And then we end up resenting ourselves for those choices. And so it is the core essence of us having values.
Yeah. And I think that once we understand that, then we can move on to that better energy, that better vibration. But we have to have certain values. And as you said earlier, set boundaries to set boundaries around how we deal with situations, how we speak, who we deal with. Any situation that comes along, there needs to be some kind of boundary.
I think with it, anytime we get a little bit confused, a great way to reset yourself is to come back. Where are my values? Look at those, connect into them, and it gives you the clarity to then cull the things that don't align. And that's where the boundaries are more healthily implemented, because you're clear. It's like, am I going to respect myself with this choice or not? Is it aligning with me or not? So, yeah.
Yeah, and that alignment too is finding that stability in the alignment that you have. So talk about that a little bit.
I love alignment. It's basically when you're feeling comfortable in your own skin, just being in your happy place. As we're going through this energetic shift, and it's about being more of your authentic self, not doing more, not rushing around being busy, busy, busy. It's about stopping, pausing, surrendering from the past and sitting in the present moment and just being more of your authentic self. I like to equate it to having your own personal radio station. And your personal radio station is when your frequency, your vibration, and your energy all packaged up together, which creates your resonant field. is just in alignment and flow. It's you being comfortable in your own skin, not doing more. You're literally the beacon of love and light, and you're just being you, and that resonates out. And that's what people are drawn to. This whole new way is like I'm drawn to you because you're just authentic. You give off a good vibe. You're not pretending to be anything else other than yourself. And people are drawn to authenticity, and just there's nothing more confident. There's nothing more appealing than a confident person. It's so attractive when they're just comfortable in being themselves.
And isn't that interesting? Because it's taken me a long time to feel comfortable in my own skin.
Yeah.
And to be me, and what you get, warts and all,
Yeah,
is
exactly.
what you see. And if I
Exactly.
stuff up, I stuff up. You know, I made a mistake. Okay, what did I learn from that?
Yeah.
And it's taken me many, 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 many years to get to this point of accepting me for who I am.
Yeah.
And, you know, we go, when we come on the show, we go and have our makeup done, and we look at ourselves and we think about these things. We look at the way we dress, and I like to be different. I don't want to be like anyone else.
Yeah.
And I think that we have to have a confidence in ourselves to be able to stand up and own it.
Oh, totally. I think age and wisdom helps, as we get the getting of wisdom. As we aging gracefully, we're igniting this wisdom within, and the beauty just shines from within to the outside.
Yeah.
I was just talking to the makeup artist, and she said, it's interesting because there's so much beauty in people with their wrinkles without the Botox, and because their pure essence is shining through. I was speaking to a face reader a while back, and I said, so how do you read a face that has a lot of Botox with the eyelashes? And she said the Botox freezes the wisdom in the face because it's the charm lines. You can read a face, and you can tell, the weathered a storm, and it's so interesting. We're all perfectly imperfect.
Oh, and imperfect is absolutely perfect.
It is.
Because no one's perfect.
Yeah.
And, you can have your Botox, you can have all these things, and
that's fine.
That's fine if it makes you feel good. But at the end of the day, who is that person behind all of those things?
Yeah.
What masks are you hiding behind? Because I see so many people hiding behind masks because they have this fear of being seen for who they are.
Yeah.
And this is what you do. You bring out that energy. You give them the confidence to be able to see the real person that they are, so that they can step over that terror barrier and they can walk out and stand up and be seen and feel confident.
Absolutely. I think the old way, we're going through this shift from an old way to the new way, and the old way is very underpinned with fear and doubt and judgment, external stuff, people's opinions and criticisms. And I've been there myself, and it withers you down, and you can see it in people's body language, shoulders down. But when you can, it does take courage and confidence to step up, to surrender out of that sort of old way into this new paradigm shift of just being comfortable in just being you. And as you said, you're uniquely you. It's the pure essence of you. And everybody has a superpower.
Oh, God, yes.
And that's what we're drawn to. I'm drawn to your superpower because it's just this essence of you just being you, authentically you, all packaged up. And that's just so attractive.
Yeah, it's really... What do you say? It's exciting.
It is.
It is exciting when you come into yourself, when you can own who you are and feel confident and comfortable and stand out. You walk into a room, someone said, you can walk into a room and be either seen or not seen. You want to be the person that walks in the room and stops the crowd. And there's nothing wrong with that. It exudes a confidence that is, you own who you are. And I think that we have to learn to own who we are as individuals. And when we do that, life changes.
Oh, in such a positive way. And the old way is so exhausting. You're constantly in the head thinking about what other people are thinking of you. When you let go and surrender, and crossing this bridge from the old way to the new way is just surrendering out of that old stuff that it drags you down, and it's very heavy energy. You can feel the heaviness of it. You let go and you're free. You find this inner peace and this freedom, and it's just, you have all this extra energy because you still conduct yourself with respect, love and dignity, but it's just, you let go of other people's expectations, and particularly on yourself. You've got to forgive yourself. Just be very forgiving. Have compassion for yourself, compassion for others, and have understanding that we're doing the best job because we're perfectly imperfect. We're doing the best we can for the moment.
And we do have to have compassion for ourselves.
Yes.
If we don't forgive ourselves for the things that we've done,
oh my gosh,
who's going to forgive us?
Oh my God.
Nobody.
I mean, the things that we say to ourselves in our head, you wouldn't say to your worst enemy. So imagine what your cells are absorbing. Dr. Emoto, you're probably familiar with him, did a number of looked at water and the effects of water with emotions, and had negative emotions and positive emotions, and the crystals changed of the water with the negative emotions. They're all yucky looking sort of things, and then had positive emotions like love, happiness, whatever, and the crystals changed. So imagine when the thoughts that we're putting into our head, what that's doing to every cell in our body. Like, if water crystals can change, our cells are receptive to every thought, every feeling and emotion. Imagine if we started to be more compassionate and kind to ourselves and more loving to ourselves. Imagine the energy and the shifts that we can change. I mean, this is what it's all about.
And it is, as we said in the beginning, it's all about the energy.
Yeah.
And I always say that what we think about, how we feel, and what we take action on is what we produce.
100%. They're the things that the only things we can control in the present moment, how we think, feel and act. And also manage our time and energy. Everything else is beyond our control.
Oh, and you know what? We have choices.
Yeah.
And for a long time, you don't think about that. As you're growing up, you don't think about the choices you have. But we always have a choice. We have a choice to say yes. We have a choice to say no. And most of the time, because of the social norms, what happens? We feel guilty because people make us, people don't make us. We allow people to make us feel guilty if we say no. But we have a right to say no. It's not because you don't want to, it's because it's not convenient right now, or it's not what you need to do right now. So saying no needs to be something that you feel confident in.
Absolutely. And I think part of every day is a Tuesday. Right?
Oh, it is a Tuesday. Not a Tuesday.
No, it's
a Tuesday.
Yeah. And every day is a growth day, because out of every experience, perceived positive or negative, there's learnings, there's silver linings. And as we start to be more forgiving on ourselves and learn from our failures or, situations that didn't work out exactly how we'd liked, it's okay. It's just being more gentle and forgiving on ourselves. So, as we go through life, just letting go and stepping more into this present moment of just loving ourselves more. The core issue for every single person on this planet is stepping into unconditional self-love and self-worth. No conditions attached. Very, very hard, but that's the core essence of all of our issues.
And this unconditional, it's sort of like you have unconditional love for your children, regardless of what they do, what they say, or how they behave, all those things. You still love them regardless. It doesn't matter. And sometimes they give you lots of, I'm going to say shit.
Yeah. Lots of learnings, hey?
And I think, this unconditional love needs to be something that we have for ourselves. And to be unconditional and stop being judgmental about how we look, because we can look in the mirror and go, and I've done it many times, oh my God, I don't like that look, and things like that. So
dim the lights, babe.
Dim the lights, or turn it right off. so you can't see them at all.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on, get real here. It is who you are. Accept you for who you are.
Absolutely, warts and all. And just getting back to your other point about feeling guilty, part of the thing is that as we're shifting into this new way, it's putting us first. It's about putting the oxygen mask on yourself and you first, taking ownership and responsibility for you and your actions, because everybody's on their own journey. And when we start to feel guilty about our choices, ask yourself, am I honoring myself? Am I respecting myself? Am I honoring my values? And am I putting myself first? Because if we don't put ourselves first, we're not going to be optimal help to anybody else around us.
Well, as a mother, what do we do when we have young babies? We put them first.
Yeah.
And we put everything else first.
Absolutely guilty.
And we forget about who we are and what we need and want in our lives until it comes to a time there might be a crisis.
Yep.
There might be a health issue.
Yep.
And you start thinking, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah.
And it is like the oxygen mask. You need to put that on first. You need to look after yourself first before you can look after anyone else. It's about even loving yourself. You have to love yourself first.
And it's hard. It's not easy.
No, it's not. Before you can love someone else truly. Yeah. It's like going in and out of relationships. If you go into a relationship, things happen, you leave that. You've got to give yourself time to learn about the person you are.
Yeah.
Not go back into a relationship. We've got to learn about who we are and what we want in life. And that's a really important part of our energy, isn't it?
And yes, absolutely. And it's part of our evolution. And everything starts with just simple, small steps. Otherwise, it's too overwhelming. As I said earlier, the answers lie within us, not outside of us. And it's beginning to, fall in love with yourself all over again, deepen that relationship with yourself. And all of this it's not hard. It's not easy. It's a part of your self-development and deeper personal growth. But we're all about preventing illness down the track. And this is part of the process because most illness is underlying emotions that are stuck, that are embedded, linking into limiting beliefs that we've grown up with and we haven't revisited them. And it's time now to do the work and to fall in love with yourself. As scary and as daunting that may be, it's going to have the most amazing results on the other side. How good is it when you let that stuff go?
Oh, look,
it's so good.
It's fabulous.
Yeah.
We work up to these things with the worry and the stress. Where does the worry get us? It just gives us more worry and more worry and more worry. But what are we worried about? At the end of the day, if you take a step back and look at what we're worrying about, remove the emotion from it and look at the actual situation. Oh, come on, really?
Yeah.
And so what we do with that worry, that stress, is we create the dis-ease in our body, which eventually, if we continue to worry and judge and do all those things, it creates disease.
Oh, absolutely, disease. The scary thing is the median age of anxiety is 15. That's the median age. Now, we're talking about, we know about midlife crisis and anxiety and stress and depression in 40s, 50s plus, but this is starting with our kids, particularly around the age of 10. I heard on the radio driving here today that they said the number one issue and worry for kids 15 to 19 is about money. And it's not mental health anymore. It's more about money and surviving.
But why is it about money?
Yeah. The cost of living, I don't know. Just, everything is expensive. And I tell you one thing, I've got 4 kids and they're,
You're brave.
Including twins, but let's not mention them all. It's a lot of work. But since COVID, we don't handle cash, for example.
No.
So remember, we used to go out, and if you had the money in your pocket, you spent it, and then you came home. You might have an extra $10 stuck down your socks for the cab or something. But our kids are going out and they're tapping, and they're getting a cocktail, and they might get another cocktail.
And they don't know how much they've spent.
And next morning, because it's too easy, they get up, oh my gosh, I've spent an extra $200. And so things like that, housing, where am I going to live? How am I going to afford to live? And these are real issues. And I think the more that we can, work on ourselves, and because then we can.
That brings us to the end of another episode. And I say thank you to Sally Estlin from Empowered Lifestyle. We talked about so many different things: finding your tribe, dressing for intent, looking at our values and what they actually mean to us, looking at allowing things to happen instead of forcing them to happen, using our energy in the way that we can learn and understand to use our energy, and so much more. We'll be back with another episode next week. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now. Have a happy week. Hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram. Stay inspired, stay connected, and join our amazing community today.